Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Hell yeah. My name is Emilio. I am your number one host. And with me, I'm with my co-host that needs no introduction. And we're actually not going to reveal his name. The entire season, we're not going to say his name. Their name.
Nope.
We're not even going to say their gender, their age. You're just going to have to imagine how they look like and what their name is. And the winner, the person that guesses the name, wins a brand new car. That's awesome. I'm just kidding. I'm here with my co-host, the one, the only, Ryan Bittner.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast, partially stealing Emilio's intro for this because I can't come up with anything original similar to his YouTube content. Nonetheless, though, it is amazing to be back here doing another podcast for all you awesome people of the internet.
Podcast.
I know, right? We'll get to that later, but it's good to be doing this show for you guys. We have some amazing content planned. And yes, my name's Ryan, aka the Invisible Man. I'll be the Invisible Man for the entirety of this season. You don't need to know anything else about me. I'm purely a phantom. I'm actually one of those
AI. From the editing team, they bleeped out every time we just said your name.
Oh, damn it. I thought it was just one of those AI generated images that you just pulled up on Google, and I'm just like, I'm completely fake. Everyone's gonna think I'm an actual person or a secondary.
You have 7 fingers in one hand, and like
exactly. They're gonna notice the glitches in the Matrix, so to speak, as time goes on. But if you guys get suspicious, I'll just keep my hands down.
I swear to God, Ryan's a real person.
I promise I'm real.
All right,
but
everybody.
Yes, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Now, say, Ryan, why is this show called that?
Well, we brainstormed a name for quite a while. When we were trying to come up with a new name for this brand new show with all new possibilities, we were thinking to ourselves, what do we possibly want the theming to be?
What do we have in common? I think that was more so.
Well, we both wear glasses, we're both human beings, and we both speak different languages. So we figured, with all these uncommon traits in mind, we came up with the name Terminally Online Pen Pals Podcast, which isn't really the case. Originally, the name legitimately came from Emilio and I were considering, we've been online friends for years now. For those of you who didn't know, we've been friends, I think, for about 8-9 years at this point, 7 to 8, somewhere in there. And we're from 2 different countries. We have 2 different backgrounds, and both of us have our own different life experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So we kind of figured, well, we've been basically doing a pen pal project for years through our YouTube channels, through prior podcasts, and et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, so we figured, than it being a project, we were just friends.
Hanging out. Yeah, we were friends and we were hanging out. I mean, we're
no longer friends.
Oh, yeah, no. See, we figured for this podcast, we're no longer friends in the time that we stopped doing recordings together. So we figured, well, we'll split the profits. Like, we hate each other, but at the same time, we'll tolerate each other to split whatever proceeds come out of this show.
Yeah.
Yes, money only, no actual friendship. But that's kind of the direction where the name came from. But Emilio came up with a few different attributes of it as well.
I think what is important to clarify to everybody that's new listening to the show that might not know of us from what we've worked on in the past. I mean, we have, I guess,
which is true.
I wouldn't say huge YouTube channels, but like a somewhat decent following. Size. Yeah, like if we were a cult, I think we would be like on some FBI watch list.
I don't think we're big enough for the FBI's watch list. I think we're more so maybe like NSA, CIA, somewhere in there. But FBI, we're not that big yet. But one day we'll make it.
We're like a Division II college volleyball team.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe Division III. We're on the brink.
We're probably on that one.
We're on the brink of going down. But
exactly.
So basically, me and Ryan before this show, we used to do a show called Trash Talk. Now, that show didn't have a theme. It was basically just a show where we turned on our microphones for 30 minutes and talked.
That's pretty much what it
but
was.
it wasn't originally supposed to be about us sort of documenting our friendship. It was more so I started the project as like this interview show, but I quickly found that it was really hard to find a new guest every week for me to like talk to for 30 minutes. Especially, I think at that time I didn't even have 100 subscribers on YouTube. But
Yeah.
ultimately, at one point, I think the first episode I did with Ryan, and actually the first time me and Ryan spoke was on a podcast Ryan used to do. And
Yeah, yeah,
so,
podcast quote unquote that I used to do.
but I found that with Ryan, Ryan's like a very easy person to talk to, and he's really good with words, and we did have common interests, but at the same time we had a lot of differences, and I
Right.
think that's what kind of made the show interesting. But we never really leaned on this part about how we do come from different backgrounds, right? I'm from Mexico, Ryan's from the States, and
Hmm.
whilst these two countries are right next to each other, there are, aside from the language, obviously some huge differences. So this show is sort of a way for us to explore that side of our friendship. Also because we've never met in person. I know it's pretty much we can't. You guys are thinking, wait a minute, but the audio quality is so good on Ryan's microphone. I thought they were in the same room. Well, no. So that's why it's Pen Pals. I think that's the part of the name. Terminally online, it's because we've only ever met through
Hmm.
the internet, never in person. So yeah, and we've never written letters to each other, but
No,
at least not
that,
like only love letters. But I don't think those count.
no, those are more personal letters. I think we're more so talking like professional, like meeting up capacity letters, not like because I've gone out and bought lipstick exclusively just to send this man letters in the past with a little like kiss at the bottom. Only the quality for this man. I that's part of the reason why this show is going to be amazing for all of you guys to interact with because we have a very deep and personal friendship with one another. Both the love letters, obviously, but actually over the years that we've
Everybody
save it for
listening is
after.
very
Uh,
confused. What was that? I was leaning in
or
for a
just save
kiss, everybody, but I'm
we're
sorry,
we're
Ryan.
just kind of practicing,
Yeah.
mid show. We'll worry about that later. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the dynamic Emilio and I have shared for years. Like with Emilio, when I first met him, when we started doing Trash Talk, various YouTube collaborations over the past, yeah, like 7 or 8 years now, Emilio and I have become close friends. Emilio is I agree with what Emilio even said about me. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy to interact with. He has a lot of different perspectives on different cultures, languages, interest in a wide variety of interesting things that we could talk about. And Emilio is just he's an easygoing guy, and he's someone who, again, is incredibly easy to talk with, especially with somebody who's never physically met up with him yet as of this date. That the fact that we've been able to maintain a relationship like this, both in a personal capacity and an online relationship like collaborations, I think really does say a lot. And it's something kind of rare to find, especially given the fact that, yeah, we're not large scale YouTubers or anything like that. We're no Mr. Beast, Jake Paul, whatever. But the
The
fact of the matter
Rock.
is yeah, the fact of the matter is we do have decent followings, and that has helped maintaining that relationship as well. So, but yeah, that's kind of where the name Terminally Online Pen Pals came from.
Yes, sorry. So, like I mentioned before, we used to have a show, and whilst that show sort of ended 2 years ago, we did talk a bit about what we were going on through. What we were going through during that period.
Yeah, it
So
was a lot.
that was a different time in our life 2 years ago. Um,
Hmm.
so I thought it would be interesting that for the first episode, I introduced Ryan based on what I last heard of him from that episode because we made other videos, not necessarily any podcasts, so we did interact,
Right.
but we didn't really just like sit down and chat and kind of see where the other person was at, and at a more personal level. So I think that
Yeah.
what we should do for this episode, we should introduce the other person based on what we last knew of them from 2 years ago, and then the other person can sort of introduce themselves sort of maybe building on that introduction that the other person gave them, or maybe they're a completely different
Oh,
person. But
okay.
we'll see.
So we're basically just recreating that terrible to be continued meme that everyone's seen on YouTube.
Yes, sir, from
Of course.
more than 2 years ago. But yeah,
Wow. Recycling old content. That's our specialty. So we may as well go with it. But I think be a cool dynamic to get into though, to kind of do a before and after kind of scenario, see where we were before, and then kind of see where we've evolved because a lot has changed over the past 2 years, I can tell you. So,
yeah.
but yeah, let's go into it.
All right. I guess I'll start because I think I kind of have like an idea. I don't remember. I think Ryan. So Ryan studied to be a teacher. Like
Kind of.
the college system in the States works differently. We're gonna run into that topic eventually as the show goes through, as the show evolves, because we're like the differences is something that we're gonna discuss a ton in this episode, in this
Oh
podcast.
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I think Ryan was studying to be a teacher. I think you 2 years ago you ended your degree, right?
So right when we ended Trash Talk, when we stopped recording episodes, I was a little bit out from graduating with my master's degree. So the last time that we had interacted with that, I was about 3 or 4 months out from graduating with my master's at that time for teaching.
There you go. And he hit a deer for the second time.
We can get into that later. 2 years has revealed a few more automotive incidents for me personally.
um,
So yeah, we'll save that though.
I don't think I don't remember if you talked about this on that show. I think maybe we talked about this maybe after we finished filming a video or something for my channel, or maybe it was for your podcast because you do have another show or had.
Yeah, yeah, we did. We did another podcast episode on the Boss Cast.
Yeah, so
I think last year.
we did that, but I don't remember who told me there, but I think you were working as a teacher at a prison.
Going into a teaching job at a prison, yes. So that information is still accurate at this time. So
So that's I can see you still live in the same place as 2 years ago.
currently, but moving into a place later in the year.
That's
That's
good.
currently being renovated.
And I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. I mean, you make retro video game reviews.
I do. I've kind of stepped away from the boss for right now
Yeah.
because that type of content, for one reason or the other, which was a lot of sketches and memes and that kind of thing. Like it was definitely like a character portrayal more than anything. But since then, I have matured more, both personally and in making content. So I've been focusing more on making retro video game content on the nostalgia factor, especially for the better part of this year. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely focus more on that now.
so I've noticed that as you can see, he's really into superheroes. If you're
This
watching the
person is
video
slowly.
version,
I don't know what you're referring to. See, I've been doing this pose for the entire episode, in case anyone's curious.
I call
This
it
pose is
the flexing T pose. That's how I would
yeah.
describe that pose.
See, 2 years has built up a lot of muscle here, guys, as well. Not just the jaw anymore. You can see it in the biceps and everything else. So, getting those gains in, you know how it is.
And I think that's the last I remember of Ryan. Like I think that's sort of like the last on the Ryan folder on my memory, on my hard drive here in my brain. That's the last thing I remember.
Okay.
So how much
Um,
has changed? Like I think this is a good moment for you to like talk about that. How has life changed for you since?
it has changed quite a bit the past 2 years. Similar to what Emilio has talked about, since we last did that abrupt last episode of Trash Talk and everything else, a lot has happened. I've graduated from my college with my master's degree, so now I have my bachelor's and my master's, both in social science or history and in teaching. So I have my degrees now. I've started up a new job. I do work at a prison now, and I'm going into a teaching position here, scheduled to be in a few months. So I started working a new full-time career job. In that time period as well, I've also, as Emilio pointed out, this is the house. If you guys have watched past videos or watched the video version of Trash Talk, if you knew us before listening to this episode, this has been my childhood home for years. I've lived here my entire life, and I'm as of right now, I'm moving into a house later in the year. There's been a lot of home renovation projects I've been working on the past year and a half. Me and my family, a few family friends, we've been fixing up the house, and maybe eventually I'll share some of those stories as well, because there are a lot of things I've run into in house restoration, like building new porches, putting in patios, cleaning out the place. There's been a lot of stuff there. But I'm moving into a new house either later this year or early next year for like my permanent home, so to speak. Eventually moving my stuff in. So that's also changed on that front. I mean, for me, a lot, it's been finishing up school, starting a new job, kind of going out and having some new prospects in life. I've been definitely branching off more into the nostalgia factor type of content. Outside of the one podcast episode Amelia and I did, I've kind of stepped away from the podcasting side of things. Not the fact that I don't enjoy doing podcast episodes, but content creation in general right now, retro video gaming has always been a passion of mine to a degree. And even with less time nowadays working full time to play and to experience those, I'm still making content here and there because I do enjoy the content creation journey. Like I like doing stuff like this with Emilio for you guys, and I also enjoy making certain types of content. But that's just kind of what I've been up to. Definitely a lot of changes and transitions, but a lot of what Emilio said before has carried over these past 2 years.
All right. So here's what I want to ask. Are you gonna move into the new house with your dad, or are you going it solo?
No, I'm solo. I am moving. So the house that I'm moving into was owned by a family member of mine, my great grandmother to be specific. It's not too far away from my current residence right now. It's down the road a little bit.
Can you post
And
your
that
full
house,
address in the comments, please?
yes, 100% will. I'll be right after that gets posted. We'll be holding a full blown rave party. I'm gonna have all sorts of like I'm a big pizza guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna order like guys, it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have Scrabble, we're gonna have pizza, we're gonna have soda. It's gonna be awesome.
And
No
cocaine.
alcohol or anything like
Uh,
that. Yeah. Well,
no
that
alcohol, but the cocaine is on us, everybody. Don't worry
there
about
you go.
it.
Supplied by Emilio, of course. You guys know, kind of how that works there. But yeah, definitely a rave party. But no, yeah, as far as moving to that house goes, yeah, it's something that's happening later. It's a 3-story farmhouse. There's a few acres of land on it, a lot of buildings that still need cleaned up. I'm not moving into it right now because it still needs a lot more work as of right now. Still got to fix up stuff like the ceiling. The bathroom needs completely redone. I mean, it still functions, but it's older. And there are a few things around the property itself that need cleaned up. But me and my family have been working on it for almost 2 years now. Not just for me, but for anyone else who would ever stay there, even if I were to move out, because it's staying in the family kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's just kind of again part of what I've been up to on the side. Definitely a lot of work is going into that place.
Well, Ryan, that's pretty epic. I've never renovated a house.
Well, okay, here's a few things I know about Amelia right off the bat from the last time. That
Or what you?
terrible.
I think I'm more active on social media than Ryan. I think so. I think you have more of a, I guess, clearer picture of what I'm up to most of the time.
Yeah, something like I think so. I've noticed a few things. I'll tell you what I know about Emilio beforehand that I've started noticing. So Emilio is completely quit YouTube. It seems like at this point, his YouTube channel is dead as a doornail. I haven't noticed any new content on there that I noticed as of recent. Um, Emilio 2 years ago, last I heard, was running like a criminal enterprise, robbing banks or something. I don't remember. But I think the stupid animations throw me off. They suck.
I can't see what happens on Zoom, but I imagine there's like a weird reaction every time we do a thumbs up, right?
Yeah, there's fireworks going behind you. So I just
That's
lost
really funny.
complete
I
focus.
wish I wish I could have
Does it work?
filmed.
Nope, doesn't work.
No.
No, what I actually so 2 years ago for
I'll
you,
stop
Emilio,
doing it because I thought it would be real funny.
what I last remember hearing about for you, you were in the middle of finishing up your last year of college. The last time that I had checked, you were getting ready to
Kind
finish
of.
up your college education. you had started branching off while you hadn't really been uploading on YouTube very much at that time, and still that's kind of carried over a bit. You did start off branching off into other social media accounts like your cooking Instagram. You made a few different accounts actually online that I've been following and I've been enjoying, especially your cooking stuff where you demonstrate different dishes and whatnot that you make. I noticed at that time too that you started kind of branching off a little bit more into expanding your friend group a little bit too. I think as you started, because I noticed a lot more people showing up on your social media accounts.
Don't get
Like you're going
jealous,
to more
please,
parties.
Ryan.
No, it's okay. Emilio's my only friend anyway, so I'm slightly less lonely nowadays. So I think we're good.
Holy crap, the door behind you just opened.
Holy crap! It's my dog. Stay tuned.
Oh, okay. It's actually a ghost, everybody, but we don't want to scare you. Holy crap, Ryan has legs. 8 years of
Yeah, I
friendship,
know,
and I've
right?
never seen his
I'm not
legs.
actually a headless torso. Yeah.
Right.
Oh
That's
yeah, there's something
awkward
else.
because I am a headless torso, so.
Oh shit. It's a good thing I've never seen you from the waist down in any of our collaborations over the years, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, actually,
No, oh that's
that's. I never thought about it, but I think it's true. Every
yeah,
time I've
actually,
collabed with Ryan, I've been sitting down.
yeah. So I
Holy
think the
crap!
only time was the declassified video that we did where you showed your feet at one point in the video.
I
I think
I
that
showed
that's
my
been it.
feet. Oh, that's pretty funny.
I think that's it, to be honest. That's something else, by the way. I got a new dog
Oh, that's
as
pretty
well.
cool.
It's like 6 months ago. But within that time period, though, yeah, I mean, I think the last I heard of you, you expanded out your friend group. You've been focusing a lot more. Yeah, I think you're graduated from college now. You started branching off into different forms of content, and you've gotten a lot more into filmmaking and doing various different projects. Because last I remember, Marka had worked on a short film, I believe, as well,
Yeah,
that he came out with that you collaborated with him on. Marka being
a
one of
friend of mine
Emilio's
here.
films. Yeah, a friend of his. Another thing, we did a few collaborations as well in that time for 2 years. We did that podcast episode on my channel or my old podcast channel where we kind of talked about meeting up and we made plans about that. I remember 2 years ago on like when we would meet up. Emilio, you were trying to get your visa at that time as well. And we had planned out potentially meeting at some point there. The other thing that we ended up doing was the last episode of a long running series on Emilio's channel, which Lost in Translation, which is something else that we did. So we kind of talked a little bit
What?
there, updated each other.
Lost in
So
translation? What's that? I think you must have been dreaming.
yeah, I think yeah. Sorry, man. The fan fiction that I create in my head shouldn't translate over to the podcast. I'm sorry. I'll talk about actual content. I'll talk about actual content now, I promise. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what last I heard about you, Emilio. You were still finishing up college, you had greater ambitions for what you were doing, and you were branching off into different types of content and people. So, how has it been for you within that 2 years? What are you currently doing now out of college?
Okay, so yeah, 2 years ago I was actually halfway through college. I just got my degree in communication sciences. That's really cool. Uh, but
Did you end up changing?
yeah,
Did you end up changing house by the way too? Because
yeah.
the
I
lame
also
background
moved.
joke I made before,
I also
and you are
moved.
actually
I
replaced.
also moved out of my childhood home. Um, but yeah, I do also do YouTube. I still post on YouTube, but I only post on YouTube Shorts. Like that's kind of different.
Yes, yeah, the feature that everyone forgot about shortly after
Yeah, I
YouTube.
don't know why. Like, here's
I
a
don't
side
know.
rant. I post on YouTube Shorts, but I myself have never used YouTube Shorts.
Mhm.
And for some reason, all my videos on YouTube Shorts get at least 1,000 views, if not 500 views. Like they do decently, but I don't know a single soul that uses YouTube Shorts. So
No, it's about the same here. They tried to bank off the old TikTok trend from years back, where there were sites and apps coming out that promoted shorter videos where people could gain popularity and giving attention to other websites. YouTube decided to capitalize on that rather than having long video sites. It's the same case where they added like TV or movie subscriptions on there, which I don't know anybody that does that either. That's what Netflix and Amazon Prime are for, and Disney Plus. So not really any use for that either.
Yeah. Also, so basically during that 2 year period, we used to do the shows, but we also used to always film at night. But at one point, so my degree, the way it worked was that the first 2 years were every class I had was strictly from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the next 2 years were strictly between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. So I basically had no time to film the show.
Hmm. That
Frick.
was a very let's see, that was a similar case for me because during that time where we stopped doing Trash Talk or Old Show, Emilio's classes started ramping up. His schedule drastically changed, like what he just described. And for me, it was the same case. My master's degree, I started starting my internship. It wasn't just college classes anymore. I was going to actually teach in schools for my degree because I had to be there for a certain number of hours. And I was doing that for months. And at the time that we ended off Trash Talk, my internship stuff really started taking off. My workload started going. Plus, at the time, I was working a retail job for 5 years, which I left in December of last year. There is something that I do want to rant about just for a second here about, at least for Dollar General and maybe for the retail employees as well. The benefits that you end up getting, at least for Dollar General, the way that it works every 5 years, if you're an employee there, and I've known people who have worked there for like 20, 30 years, at least at the time, every 5 years you get some kind of employee gift or a thank you from the company, where on your fifth anniversary, they give you a catalog where you get to select all sorts of different items to thank you for your years of hard retail service.
Do you at least get
Some
these
of
for
them
free?
you do get them for free. That's a benefit. I
Okay.
never got my catalog, however, and I had over 5 years in, so I never got my free item,
I mean, it's
which was
Dollar
extremely
General. I don't think they
unfortunate.
have like really like high end shit.
But see, they had all sorts of cool things like a ceramic truck with the Dollar General logo on it,
Why the fuck would you
a
want that?
small cooler, uh, um, other assorted Dollar General branded items. Which
I
no,
think, wow,
the,
you really missed out.
a a cheap knife set. Yeah, I'm very disappointed by it, as you can tell. The rant portion of this is if I would have gotten that catalog and seen exactly what was in it, seeing like, okay, I could choose a ceramic Dollar General truck, or I can choose like this cheap ass knife set that's gonna break the minute I try and use it, I would have been extremely upset. And the incentives just aren't worth it for retail employees. It's like that meme where when your boss goes up to you and tells you about like, hey, I have some great news for you. I'm going to give you something. You're like, oh, am I going to get a raise? No, I'm throwing you a pizza party.
Oh,
Yeah, it's one of those types of things.
yeah.
If you're going to reward employees, give them some kind of raise, cash incentive, or I don't know, like a time off award. Maybe make them like manager for a day, like where they could get the day off. Give them something, some kind of incentive to boost their pay and let them know you appreciate their hard earned work, but not a catalog where I'm like, cool,
Yeah.
I got a paperweight with my old company logo on it.
That
So, but it doesn't,
sounds awesome.
yeah, definitely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But that never happened for me. I think the whole thing's really stupid in the way that they did it. But that nonetheless, though, I still enjoyed my time working there. It wasn't always easy, obviously, but I enjoyed the people I worked with, and my old store was good. But the 5 year incentive, no, it sucks. But I never got it anyway. So
Where I work at, I've been there, I think, 4 years. And that's actually kind of what I wanted to get into as well as why I sort of slowed down, at least on YouTube with long form content because I still post it. I think in these 2 years, I think I've posted like 4 videos.
it was, yeah, one of them being the hallucination that I had at the end of last year, something about a game show or
Oh
something. I
yeah,
think
you're
that was one
right.
of the three that you had.
Yeah, I don't think I did that. So I think maybe just 3 videos then.
I mean, I think it might have been two videos, I think, on that one. And one of
Anyways.
them was and by the way, one of them was a remake of a video that you made years ago for that MC De Niro video
Oh
that you
yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
one of
true.
them was a remake, so it wasn't even original.
Well, it was better produced.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. It was better produced, but it wasn't an original idea, though. Not that the original video was original anyway,
Yeah.
but
No, the original video was an original idea, but it was just
okay.
terribly produced. and I thought
Yeah, I'll give you
I
that.
was like, I want to do this again. No, but
Yeah.
I slowed down with YouTube because as well, like my job, I started to, well, land bigger projects. I work as a video editor. So yeah, post production, graphic design. That's sort of what I do. Um, and during that period, I landed bigger projects, and I still had sometimes time, but I also had school. I had personal relationships. I had my friends, etc., etc. So it was hard to balance, and I did start these other side projects like the cooking Instagram, and my TikTok really blew up. I had I have almost 11,000 followers on TikTok.
I
Uh,
have a lot of accounts I'm managing right now, by the way. You're welcome.
Hell yeah, 11,000 accounts actually.
Yeah,
And
all under one person.
wow, so you don't have a job, huh?
No, no, my job is maintaining random accounts that don't give me any money whatsoever for one dude TikTok.
That's a real friend, everybody. That's a real friend. So yeah, I mean, TikTok and Instagram are like content there is very easy to produce, but it's not really like, at least for me, creatively fulfilling. It's not that I
Right.
don't enjoy doing it, but there is a point where I'm like, well, it's getting kind of
Old.
old, yeah, and
Yeah.
so I do miss making YouTube videos. I have some videos that I'm writing or even still editing, but I'm just like very slow to get to that because I'm very like, I don't know. I really like right now taking a lot of time with my videos. There's a video that I have uploaded to YouTube but on private that has been there for a year now that I just haven't published because I'm still not 100% sure if I want to post it. The video's edited, captioned. It's just there sitting on my YouTube channel. Like I still have my old background like in my old room. It's
Oh, I remember which one that
I've
was.
never
The Now You See Me 3 article announcement analysis.
hell
I
yeah.
remember this. Yeah, I remember this one. Hell yeah, man.
That's such an inside joke that no one listening to this will understand.
If you're an OG, you understand.
And so yeah, I like to take time with YouTube. I'm not officially off of YouTube because there's still stuff I want to do there. I'm
Right.
just taking a bit more time because I want it to be, you know, something better produced. Especially because I went 4 years to college for a degree in media analysis. So I kind of have to show that I know what I'm doing. So yeah, and also like I'm getting more into film. So it's just sort of that like I have to balance out my free time better between social media, YouTube, and well, so I know YouTube's and social media is kind of the same thing, but sort of the content I want
Yeah.
to make on YouTube is different, and and the filmmaking stuff. I count this podcast as the social media stuff because making a podcast, I think just really like the hardest part is actually filming it because
I would say.
it's time consuming solely on that.
Yeah.
Editing is not that hard, I think. At least when it comes to
No.
podcast.
At
But
least with like audio centric podcast, like if you have face cam and you do videos or you have other types of ways that you do a podcast for other social media accounts, I could see that. But at the same time, though, if you're doing like a strictly audio podcast, like what I was doing on the Bosscast, it wasn't
well,
that
I mean, I
bad,
think
really.
it's more so since my job is basically just editing. It's not such a hassle to me because
Right.
I know the tricks.
That's what you do.
I know like the shortcuts you can take, how you can cheat.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal, I think. But it's
Trust me.
just time consuming. But I still
Yeah.
love doing podcasts because there's often times where I just have There's just like random stuff I want to put out there, but I don't really have like a sort of a platform to do it because I feel like
No.
if I just drop it on the comedy page, it's just gonna be like killing the vibe. My cooking Instagram, it's not really for me to give my thoughts on anything other that isn't related
Just
to cooking, and I think that's kind of why I really want to do this show. But anyways, I was gonna talk about the filmmaking part. So yeah, I do short films in my free time. So far, we've only produced two. No, actually three. Yeah, the third one we're presenting two of them. We've already presented it in many national film festivals here in Mexico. September, I'm going to Uruguay actually to present two short films that we
wow.
shot last year. And one of them, I'm just an actor. I didn't really do anything for that one. And the other one, I was the producer, so I basically organized everyone. And yeah, and this summer we shot a short film, and my dogs are barking. They saw some. There was a squirrel that passed in front of our house, and now they must kill it. Um,
Sounds like my new dog, actually.
anyway, so yeah, we shot a short film this summer that I wrote and I directed. It's the first time I got to do that. I mean, I've had directed in the past, but it was like the roommate show, which is
Hmm.
it's a really funny project, but it's a bit different because in that show we shot it during quarantine, so it was like it was just like three people at most per shoot. I think four was the highest amount of people we had, right? So
Yeah,
it wasn't really hard. It was just like
no.
because it's just four people, but I had a 10 people crew, which is still a small crew, I think.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge. I liked it. It was really fun. The film isn't edited right now. It's just like the files are just sitting there on my hard drive because I've been busy. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's sort of what I'm up to right now. I'm trying to find a balance between everything I want to do, like YouTube, film,
What?
podcasting, the social media stuff,
Right.
sports. I go running a lot more now.
Oh, okay.
I
Never
go
mind. I
running
thought you meant
twice.
something.
I play
I was gonna
soccer
say,
every Sunday, and I go to the gym 3 times a week.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I know you're definitely very active in the sports scene with like soccer and what, because in the years I've known Amelia, I know he's a major soccer fan.
And
Like
not
if we've
talking
talked,
about Major League Soccer. We're talking about real soccer.
yeah, like real soccer, like major league soccer, which again, it's a running theme between me and Emilio. One thing I knew he was up to over that 2 year span since we last did something like this was the short film stuff. Because I had watched one that Marca and you had worked on. I watched that one. Marcus sent me a link to it,
Yeah,
which
we're
was a
presenting
really
that
well
one
done
in
film.
Uruguay.
Yeah, that one was really good. I think it was about 5, 6 minutes long, roughly.
Yeah.
The other one I have no clue about, but I'm sure it's knowing Emilio's film skills and what he went to college for. I'm sure it's very well produced. The only complaint that I have about something Emilio has described so far with like his filmmaking, doing sports and working out and all that is the fact that his favorite NFL team preference has not changed over the past 2 years, and I'm still extremely ashamed of that. But it's okay, buddy. One day we'll fix that. I'm sure. I'll
Jealousy,
convert you one.
jealousy is not for
No,
everybody.
it's not
Anyways,
jealousy.
you
I'm just
guys
looking out
will.
for you.
As soon as football season starts, this show is going through like its worst period.
It's
Like,
gonna be like the next war. Like Emilio and I are going head to head with each other. It's gonna be
yeah, as
crazy.
soon as September hits, it's over, guys. You should tune off
Yeah,
for the show until like both our teams are knocked out of the playoffs,
yeah, pretty much.
and then you can enjoy the show again.
Yep. Like forget all the topics and discussions you think we were gonna have at that point. Forget about it. It's gonna be very different battlefield when that
This
happens.
show's gonna
When the
suck.
football season. Yeah, it's gonna suck at that point. Some of you might find it interesting, but it's gonna
If
be
you're
two
not a
man
sports
children.
person, you're not gonna care.
You're not gonna get it. And even if you do, it's just gonna be two man children screaming at each
Yeah,
other.
if you root for a better team, or you're just not gonna care.
Yeah. Like if you know it's from Trash Talk, you know where this is going. But if you don't,
We're
stay
just not
tuned.
gonna talk about it until it happens.
No, not until it comes up. If you know, you know. If you don't, you'll find out.
And if you want to find out, you can follow us on all our social media at top.pod. That's TOPP.pod. That on Instagram and TikTok. You can find this show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed it. Ryan, is there anything else you want to let the people know?
No, otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this first episode of the pod. I mean, this has been so far, at least for this first episode, this is going to be an awesome project. This is something very different, I think, from what we've done in the past in terms of podcasting, because this show is going into a new direction with a new aim. Because what we did before with Trash Talk, it was like Emilio mentioned before, it was very aimless after a while, where we just kind of showed up and did stuff. This time around, it's a very organized project that I hope you guys very much do enjoy between the two of us and whatever we talk about, whatever we bring on, et cetera, et cetera. But with the fireworks play for Emilio once again, I
Only
can't believe
you
that's a
can see
function.
that. I can't even
Yeah.
see that.
I can see it. So it's like my curse. Emilio has all the success and fame and glory, but I'm the one who has to bear witness. He just experiences it. Okay, it didn't go that time. So, okay, I spoke too soon. It's going now.
Anyways.
But either way, to close it off, guys, thank you for tuning in. Check out all the social medias to keep up to date with everything to do with the podcast. Check out everything from me and Emilio, where we'll be promoting everything to do with the show. Sometimes we'll occasionally put updates on there too. Regarding the show and that kind of thing. But thank you guys. Please stick around and tune in, rate us, follow us, and keep an eye out for the future because we have a lot of good content coming your way.
Yeah. And donate to us on Ko-fi if you guys want us to do an IRL podcast.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.